Hi guys, I'm Lisa from Dragon Mama Designs. Thank you for joining me today while I am putting together these storybook cards from the card making workshop. The kit comes with enough supplies to make 4 of each of the designs, so you end up with 16 cards. Plus you get the stamp set and the thin cuts. You get these awesome diagrams to show you how to cut out all the pieces for all 16 cards. And then after that, you get to the point where you have the instructions for each of the cards. Now, I've gone ahead and done all the cutting for each of the cards. I've also done some of the basic stamping. So let's get started with project number 1. I've got all the pieces and parts laid out here. First thing I need to do is get the frog colored. And what they've done is used the technique where we're going to squeeze the lid of the ink pad. Then I'm going to take my water brush and just pick up a little bit of that ink and just start coloring away. And here's my frog all colored in. I'm going to use some mulberry ink to add some tiny hearts randomly on that little mulberry strip of paper. But first I wanted to rub that on my hand so that I made sure that the stamp is prepped and will give me a nice image. I'm not too worried about stamping anything in the middle of that piece because my frog image is going to cover that up. I'm just going to check to make sure I've got it all covered there. All right, and next I'm going to stamp a border on that Seabrook piece. And I've got my Versamat flipped over on the back to the spongy side, and that really helps give a good cushion to make a nice image. Then the phrase that I want to put on there, I want to line it up, so I flipped it back over to the front and using the grid lines to get it all lined up. Then I have to kind of laugh at myself for having to go through so many blocks to find the right one. But then this one, once I turned it catty corner, that worked pretty well. And I just grabbed the foam from the stamp set instead of flipping my Versamat back over. And that still gives you a good cushion for getting a good clean image. So I decided that I wanted to ink up the edges of all the pieces with the mist ink just to give them a little bit more definition. Then I used my Tombow Mono Air adhesive to adhere those down. But that glitter piece over there to the side, I actually used that to die cut one of the crowns for one of the other cards that we're going to do, since that piece is going to be covered up anyway. Just save a little glitter paper for another project later. And I'm using foam tape to put on the back of this to give it a little bit of height. I just like that extra dimension that it gets. My little white acrylic stars, I'm using the Coral Shades Tri-Blend markers. I'm using the lightest one to color those in, make them match a little bit more. They're so tiny that I had to use my tweezers to hold them in place. Then I'm using that super fine liquid glue to stick those onto the card, but glue dots also work really well. And there it is, there's the finished card. Okay, now we're going to get started with card number 2, but I wanted to show you guys this. This is our glitter paper, and these are the thin cuts that come with this stamp set. And they just come out beautiful. It's very delicate, but it's just really nice. I did some random stamping on the Seabrook cardstock, and I also added the phrase on there. Then with the mulberry ink and a blending brush, I'm going to add some color to the center of the white square so that it accents the crown. The technique is pretty simple. I just tap the brush onto the ink pad and then lightly touch it to a scrap of paper so that I don't end up with a big splotch on my project. Then just kind of gently rub the brush around on the paper until you get the desired shade, re-inking your brush as much as you need to. I used my fine tip liquid glue to attach the crown onto the white background, centering it over the pink that I added. And I'm going to set this piece aside and set an acrylic block on top of it to let it dry for a minute. Now I'm adding some dovetails to the ends of the stamped Seabrook piece by cutting a small slit up the middle on the side and then cutting in from the corners. I find this a much easier way to make the dovetails with pretty good results. I inked the edges of these pieces too, and then I also decided that I wanted to add some splatter from my gold shimmer pen. You want to shake it up really well and then pull the cap off. Don't twist it or you'll have a mess. Ask me how I know. But then I just tap it against my finger and it gives me some really fine spots. Sometimes you have to kind of squeeze a little out to get it started. When I'm getting my cards all assembled, a lot of times I'll use the grid on my Versamat to kind of help me line everything up. It just makes everything so much easier. And there it is, all finished. Now on to project 3. This one used the same coloring technique as the first card. And then as I'm trying to put it all together, I'm realizing that I really like the striped side of the paper better than the stars. So I'm going to erase my pencil mark that I put up in the corner and so that I can use it. That's one of the things that I really like about Close to My Heart papers. They're double-sided, so you always have options. And of course, I had to ink the edges for this one too. Then the little small piece is going to look like a piece of washi up at the top, so I'm going to tear both ends of that to give it a little bit of, I don't know, just a fun look. And on this one, I decided to use some gold glitter gems that I already had instead of the acrylic stars. I just like to change things up every so often. But this one's turning out really cute too. Don't know if you noticed or not, but there's a way to make the frog either look like a boy frog or a girl frog. There's eyelashes and little lips. Here's project 4, and it uses the same techniques as the previous cards. So we're just going to kind of fly through this one. Most everything that I'm using is available on my Close to My Heart website. And all the stuff that is available, I'm going to have it linked below. And if you don't mind, let me know what you think about this project and if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, or if you have other projects, other scrapbook projects or card making projects, just let me know. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.